All right. Hey, it's 7 o'clock. All right. For you that have been listening to this, clearly there's been some technology changes. All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Learning.
Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. We're officially going to call this meeting to order. We're going to start. Sorry, Deb, could you kindly do roll call?
Counselor Williams, Counselor Hansi,
Here.
Counselor Purser,
Here.
Counselor Parrish,
Here.
Counselor Quigley, and Counselor Miller.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask that everybody stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We have an agenda before us. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, at the request of the city attorney, there is a additional executive session pursuant to CRS section 246402-4B to receive legal advice and develop strategies for negotiations regarding the Mesa County District Court case.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, with that,
Mr. Mayor, I moved.
Actually, you do need to add to that, thank you, Deb, but that it's a Mesa County District Court case number 25 CV 30060.
thank you very much.
I moved to approve the agenda as amended.
First,
Second.
we have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Counselor Williams,
Yep.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yeah.
Counselor Miller.
Yeah.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great, thank you very much. We don't have any proclamations or presentations tonight, but I would like to take a moment to thank Jamie Vavra, I think I'm saying that correctly, for time served on the Livability Commission. Always appreciate it when people step up and want to be part of our community and help make a difference. So I just want to acknowledge that. All right, we're going to move on into public participation and consent agenda. This portion of our meeting is set aside for City Council to listen to comments from the public about items not on tonight's agenda or items that appear on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those for which all conditions or requirements have already been met, and they are typically approved with a single motion without separate discussion. We welcome and value your input to help maintain a welcoming and respectful and productive environment. We ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure that everyone, regardless of their viewpoint, feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and we ask that you begin by stating your full name and full address for the record. If you have any materials that you'd like to share with council, please hand them to our city clerk, Deb Woods, so that they can be entered into public record and distributed appropriately. While council will not respond during this portion of the meeting, please know that we are listening and we appreciate you taking the time to participate in this important process. I should also mention that we have a new 3-minute timer. And we're going to see how that goes. So with that, is there anybody that would like to participate and talk about anything on the consent agenda? Nope, no. Just so you know, that was for the person to your backward.
Yeah.
That's the former mayor.
She didn't see him either.
I just wanted to make sure you knew that. All right.
There are multiple people here today.
There was one hand that was raised. And so
All right.
we had to give him a little problem.
Please.
Tessa Bynum, 255 North Ash Street, here in Fruita. Hi.
Hi, Tessa.
I wanted to take a brief moment just to talk about something small, but that is incredibly important. When members of the public come to these meetings, whether in person or online, they are doing so because they care about the decisions that are being made for the city and also that are being made in this room. The decisions made in this room and everywhere in this building are important to everyone in the city, whether they tune in online or are in person. So it is important that everyone at this podium and at that dais, I think that's what it's called, use a microphone, because there are people not only way back there, but online that are tuning in that can't hear anything that is happening. As somebody who watched the last meeting online that couldn't hear anything that anybody was saying, it was incredibly frustrating. So that is all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's-
Tess. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and speak? Anyone? Anyone?
Hello, my name is Joel Kincaid at 401 Oakwood Avenue here in Fruita. I just want to, I hope 3 minutes is enough time. And that James doesn't cut me off. I want to just come in tonight just to thank the council for all that you guys do. I know from all the social media that I hear you guys receive bribes for all the stuff that's going on. So with that, I'm gonna, if it's okay to approach the dais, I want to give each counselor something from Mike the Headless Chicken. So just, I didn't see many of you out there that weekend, but I was there for quite a bit. So if it's okay for me to approach, can I,
Yes, please.
instead of giving it to Deb, I'd like to.
Thank you.
You can open them now. I'm okay with it.
Keep- Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, that's great.
Oh, how cool.
Good thing Mark's here. So as I'll give the little backstory, the timer, he's resetting the timer already?
Oh, I don't know.
10 minutes?
I don't know
All
how
right.
to-
Sounds good. So I don't know if you know, but they do a contest for the artwork for the Mike the Headless Chicken this year. And so this is the design I did for it. And I decided to make challenge coins. And so I made a limited edition of 100 of those. And so I sold a lot of those at my booth at Mike the Headless Chicken, but I thought that it'd be appropriate for the council to have one of those. And since it is a coin, I figure that makes up for the payment part of what you guys in our community. So I'm glad Mark's here. So I gave some of the staff some of those as well, because there's a lot of work that goes into that event. And I just wanted to let you guys all know that I appreciate all that you guys do for our community, because I know what it's like to sit up there. So enjoy your evening. I'm not going to sit around for the whole meeting, but I do appreciate everything you guys do.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Former Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and speak? No. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close public participation, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. As a reminder, we can discuss items on the consent agenda without pulling them off. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to bring up on the consent?
Just like to make a statement. I think it's great that we were able to, the contract with the software. That's great to do something and get such a great benefit. Extending it from year to year to 3 years and getting $14,000 savings over 3. Thanks for being proactive.
And then,
Still contributing to like tweaks to that? Are they still like, oh, that's so cool. Love it.
Yeah, so Cloud Permit, yeah, that's been a great success. It's actually streamlined a lot of the things we do, everything from building permits to really anything planning and development related. So yeah, that's been a really good addition. And because of the work that they've done here, it's actually rolled out to a lot of other parts of Colorado as well. So we were one of the first ones with Cloud Permit, and now it's getting more and more use. So as more users use it, they continue to tweak and improve it. But the overall feedback from our residents and our development community has been very positive with that.
I would like to, on our next workshop, talk about ordinance 2025-13, which is an introduction of an ordinance of the city of Fruita, council repealing and reenacting chapter 9.05 Fruita Municipal Code regarding weapons and weapon offenses to a workshop. I think there's some verbiage in there that we should discuss before we go to second. If we could do that, would be great.
Absolutely.
Let me get on this.
It's fine being here as kind of the first,
Yep.
but I think we should have some discussion before it goes to second. All right, great. Anybody else have anything on consent?
I would like to recognize the designation of 279 North Mesa Street for um, s- being added to the city's Register of Historic Sites. The property owners here. Super cool building that we're really fortunate to be adding to our historic sites, and really looking forward to recognizing that one and all of them with our new plaque system. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. So
Right.
thank you for stepping up for that. Really cool.
All right. Just looking around to make sure.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
First and a second, any additional discussion? All right, hearing none. Deb?
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams. Motion passes 6-0.
Right, thank you. We have one administrative item tonight. That's resolution 2025-18, amending the 2025 budget with supplemental appropriations of funds for capital equipment and purchase professional services. And our city manager, Shannon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for the opportunity to present. The resolution before you is a supplemental appropriations of fund in the general fund for only a few items, but mostly for capital equipment replacement, as was budgeted in the 2025 budget, and also some purchase professional services. As with any supplemental budget amendment, we do include a table at the very end of the cover sheet, which details out each use of funds, and that's also broken out more so in the resolution as well. But this one's pretty quick. We only have a handful of them, and considering the size of our budget, they're all pretty minor in size. So since we have a few minutes, I might just go through each one of these. First one is a reappropriation of $8,000 in our general government program to replace computer and electronic equipment for the municipal court. These funds were budgeted last year as part of our conversion for new court software, but was delayed for miscellaneous reasons. So our court clerk has requested that we reappropriate those for use. $3,000 in our finance program for work completed on last year's financial statements. That was outside of the scope of the contract. This was mostly for fund balances that were restated throughout the financial statement, so it was an additional cost outside of what we paid for the general audit. We also have $14,000 to pay our auditor to prepare our financial statements, which is going to be a great help to our staff with workload capacity and management. Also make sure that it's done in a timely manner and make sure that we can learn from them and we can get a template created for our financial statements so that in the future, if needed, they can do it, but also we can do it as well. A handful of small grants from our police department. They always apply for grants throughout the year to reimburse some of their costs. So we have some reimbursement for firearms that were purchased last year, delivered this year. So the funds need to be reappropriated, and then also some professional development that they received a grant for. And lastly, our right-of-way mower, we got a quote last July. We were going through the budget process, and unfortunately the unit that we slated for purchase was discontinued. So we did order another unit to be delivered this fall, but there is a slight increase in price. Not a slight, it's a $35,000 increase in price for that right-of-way mower. But I will say each year we actually designate funds for capital equipment replacement. So this pulls out of that and doesn't pull out of general unrestricted fund balances or funds that could be used for other purposes. Always happy to answer any questions after public comment, and staff recommends approval of the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council.
With that, I think we need to open up to public for any questions or comments. All right, hearing none. Bring it back. Rich? Yeah.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So does that mower have a massage seat? I'm joking, but curious.
It's,
That's just
Yeah.
nice.
I know, yeah,
That's a standard or
yeah.
perfect mower for
Yeah.
what we need.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and the one we've actually used is quite a bit old. We have it's actually a good thing because ours are considered, it's not low use, but compared to like if you're in the county or in Grand Junction, we definitely use our equipment a lot lot less just because we're not covering as much space. So each year we actually contribute the replacement value towards the capital equipment replacement fund. And this one, we extended the life of it probably by about another 10 years. So we've actually exceeded what we thought the replacement would be when we purchased it. So it's able to fund itself with kind of those additional ongoing contributions. But I'm 99% sure there are no massage seats, but I can get back to you on that.
No, I'm just teasing. No, you do not need to reply.
Oh, yeah.
An
Yeah.
answer. Oh, no, that's great that we have a good policy like that. That's a smart financial practices.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'd be nice to have that.
Yeah.
With the financial statement prep budget amendment, is that for a period of time or is that for the entire year?
Yeah, so this is a one-time cost. You know, it's becoming more and more common that the actual consultant that does your audit also creates a financial statements just because it takes so much time, especially on a staff our size. It's really difficult. I know last year, Margaret's retirement, she was probably in her office for a solid 2 months just trying to get all of the work done. So it is a tremendous amount of staff time, not just preparing for the audit, but after the audit is complete, like presenting. So it is becoming more common. The option is it's an up to $14,000 expense. Some that is like a setup fee where they create their templates and kind of create everything for you. And the rest is actually the work to be done. So if we did want them to do it next year, they could at a reduced rate, but this is a one-time expense for this year. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so it's the same firm as the audit firm?
It is, yeah, which is, McMahon and Associates, they do a lot of this, the audit and the financial statements. I think they do Vail, Frisco, and a few others, and they actually provide examples. They actually create a document that's eligible for the GFOA award for financial statements, so we could throw that in there if we have the time. But it has essentially the same information in a kind of a more condensed format, so it's easier to kind of get through.
So that will not cause any independence issues.
No, because they're auditing our numbers, and then based upon the results of their audit, will
You're
be
just
the result.
helping us
Yeah.
present them.
Yep.
for 'em.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope. Good.
James?
Nope.
All right. With that, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt Resolution 2025-18, amending the 2025 budget with supplemental appropriations of funds for capital equipment, supplies, and purchased professional services.
First and a second, any additional questions or comments?
None.
All right. Hearing none, Deb?
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams, and Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Thank you very much. From here, we're going to move ahead to the administrative agenda. And our Assistant City Manager, Dan Karras, and Gavin Brook with Two Fork Venture are here to talk about the launch development update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Again, Dan Karras, Assistant City Manager for the City of Fruita. I just want to invite Gavin up here. As you recall, in early April, we entered into a development agreement that had some performance-related measures in there. One of those is that we come in every 60 days and let you know what we've been up to. And so we're trying to, keep kind of consistent with that timeline as it is associated with council meetings. We also had an opportunity for some fill material that we were contemplating hauling to the site to fill the lagoons and kind of prepare the site for development. We have an update for you in that regard. And then also some asks of how we think we can kind of move this project forward, keep the momentum during the planning and design process, and how we can utilize the site best before we actually start with the offsite and the onsite. We have Dalton on the line since he's going to be a part of multiple conversations this evening, and Mary Elizabeth. So happy to answer any questions about the development agreement, but I just wanted to turn the mic over to Gavin and walk us through kind of where we're at and where we're going as it relates to this endeavor.
Thanks, Dan. Gavin Brook. It's been a while since I've seen y'all. I think I'm not up here asking for much today. Maybe the asks are coming from Dan. I'm mostly here to give you a fairly light schedule update. So everything became official, I think, April 16th this year. The various 30-day concerns and that sort of thing all expired then. We're looking towards a closing on August 25th. And so we have a few things to achieve between now and then. So real estate contract is underway as we speak. Team building, the site planning team, engineers, soils, all of those folks are underway now. I've actually contracted directly with HP Kumar out of the Roaring Fork Valley. They do soils engineering. And as we started talking about some fill options, I've added them to our side of the team. Next items are plat approval and closing slated for August 25th of this year. Site planning, we were hoping to get going a little earlier in this, but I think it will begin in earnest after closing. It's a little bit hard for my investors to want to spend money ahead of that closing right now. So interim uses, we've had some really interesting conversations about potentially opening the site up a little bit more to the public. We'll go into some other ideas, but very interested in some interim uses. Entitlements will really begin in fourth quarter of this year. So that's when we'll get more serious. We will have had 3 or 4 months of site planning under our belts and get into public process, PUD, that sort of thing. And then we're targeting the PUD planning application in Q1 of 26. Those are all consistent with the original schedule that we talked about back in, I think, February was the last time I showed you a schedule. So this is an updated version of the launch timeline. I'm not going to read the entire slide. You can see most of this, and all of these dates are consistent essentially with what we had previously discussed. If you have any questions about any of them, feel free to jump in. We have pushed the fill back a little bit because I think we have some general conclusions that we had some what looked like pretty enticing offers on the fill that turned out to be a little less enticing as we got into the actual expenses and the quality of the soil and some of that stuff. So I think we will fill those ponds under the original assumption that it will take us many years to collect the right amount, buy the right amount, accumulate the right amount, place it all. So those ponds will be the long pole in the tent, if you will. And then I leave the last lot sale on here just to moderate everybody's expectations that that's be 36. So
I just want to jump in real quickly on the results of the bid. So we had kind of a range of prices from 417K all the way up to in the mid sixes. And so essentially that's getting the material for free, but paying basically like $9 a yard for it. And so just to kind of relate everybody to that price, if we were to purchase material from, let's just say, one of the gravel pits that's closer, we could get better material for about twice the price. So like essentially the free material that would need to be remedied in some way anyways to use as structural fill, we might take the long approach. But I think that, like, just to be clear, we want to start. It's just not gonna start with like moving 50,000 cubic yards of material. And I think the other thing that is important to mention that we talked about is that it is a flat piece of ground with a for sale sign what we're going for, or do we want this to evolve over time and see the changes happen? As Gavin mentioned, like we still have to bifurcate the public and private parcel lines, plat the roads, and Is our money at this particular point in the arrangement better suited for those things in preparation for site development, or to have early cash in just to fill them when we're not going to realize a return on the 50-50 splits of the lot sales for many years down the line? So just trying to be as judicious as possible about the funds that we're using, because we kind of call it in a joking fashion, sort of the slingshot method. So it's like any money we spend, we want it to come back, and we don't want there to be this huge chasm of time in between that happening. And so that's kind of the backstory of why we arrived at that conclusion.
Any other questions on the schedule and slide that's up now? One kind of fun thing is the city launched some sheep on the site. Weed control, and the sheep found several new cars that are embedded in the little salt wash beds.
Oh, geez.
They did an amazing job of eating down about 4 feet of weeds, and all sorts of things came out of that.
How old are those cars?
So old.
So old.
So old.
Yeah.
Hard to identify. The ones actually on the riverbank are a little easier to identify, like 40s. Really cool. Detroit riprap. Like if we get to
It's super cool.
do something sculptural with them as we pull them out of the banks and do that, it'll be really-
Yeah.
The ones we found in the little salt wash is a little hard to tell. We're continuing to explore fill sourcing opportunities. We've been batting around some ideas of even starting potentially like a compost program or something out there, so that we could prep up for sort of topsoil or City of Fruita open compost kind of opportunity out there. So that is something that it will take several months to organize and roll out, but that's been something that we've been exploring as we start talking about what to do for site activation. We want to just get people to come to that end of Raptor Road more regularly and get used to being there. We've also talked about a number of opportunities for opening it up for site public access. I was telling Dan the other day, I drove down there because the gate was open. I'm confessing that, despite the signs. And somebody
Hey, you got that property under contract, man.
right?
Yeah.
The person behind me with 4 children did not. Made themselves at home. And then another car showed up, like a couple people. So
What were they doing?
just walking around, like treating it like a park, like just there I was there for a sunset, check a few things out, walk around, just be there. So I actually think that if we just made the site generally safe, drove a bulldozer over some of those piles and got rid of some of the like sticking out of concrete, people would just start using it.
Yeah.
And that would be a good thing to do, just generally speaking. So, we have talked to a number of partners, but probably don't want to say any of those names out loud right now, but we've talked to a number of possible partners for activating the site. So possible minor put-in development, possible food truck, or some concepts of a potential festival down there. So there's some interesting traction. I, of course, have been receiving phone calls left and right from everyone from developers in Denver to the guy who's looking for a mowing contract. So, and I think the riverfront uses and access, like that was where I was going to people just sort of following me in. I mean, I think that if the fences were taken down and that was opened up a little bit, people would just start using it. It is only a dirt lot, but it's a dirt lot with river access, and we could define a little bit of parking area and actually open that up potentially. Funding updates. So we have a couple of committed capital partners. That I have been, the primary partner will be a family that I've worked with before. We've begun our lending partnership discussions. And the real estate climate is a little weird at the moment. Economic climate in general is a little weird, so. But I feel confident to proceed to closing. I feel like we are going to have the funding to live up to our side of this deal the day we close. We are.
Kevin, could I interrupt you for just 1 second? We've had a request to ask that you speak a little bit more into the microphone so people that are online can hear you.
How is that? Is that better? Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. We are working towards some deadlines for potential district funding mechanisms, so we're aware of April and November election deadlines for those. We're exploring those on our side, and there's some discussion with Dalton on the city's side. We started, the Two Forks Ventures team started solicitations for the team. Once we have a short list of people that we feel like are going to be good partners, we'll bring that to the city and talk to Dan and the city about who we are suggesting. The development agreement asks that we agree and that the city's people, and Dan and I meet regularly and are working on that. Sketches for early site plans. I've had a few more evolutions and ideas, a couple of pieces of information from market study. And so those are still underway. Nothing worth revealing yet, but shortly. And then our commitments to the city council. So ongoing reporting every 60 days through entitlements and 100% CDs. The next meeting that I would expect to be here would be August 19th. That would be just ahead of the closing with a pre-closing update and team members on board. And then November of 25, I would expect to kick off the PUD process. That would be a number of community outreach and public events, and then council and planning commission workshops. That's really it. Any questions, anything I can field?
Bring it back.
I love the idea of opening it up for access as soon as possible. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, we do too. I think just getting people used to going to the end of Raptor Road for anything would be great.
And just kind of gather some excitement and interest. I think it's great.
And we're open to any brainstorms about what we do. I mean, we're going to open some ideas of approved fill being dumped there. And we've had a number of city projects have put their fill there, which has been fantastic. So we're going to start opening that up to select like trucking companies and that sort of thing. But we'd love to see a little more public engagement. I mean, honestly, 6 parking bumpers and a couple of picnic tables would.
Yeah. Love the idea of the compost too. I think that would be really well received. I know there's been conversations, within our community about something like that before. So really cool way to kind of kill 2 birds.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this becomes the location for those conversations.
Very cool.
Well, and truth be told, just going back to go forward, we were maybe a little bit naive in assuming we would be able to do the materials management perfectly. I think we do a pretty good job of changing the code and going out there and checking to make sure that there's no vegetative material that's dumped where we want the structural fill or concrete or whatever. So perhaps a solution, which is what kind of, I think, birthed the composting concept, is that if we at least give people a place to put the vegetation and the material, we won't have it end up in the area where we don't want it and have to move it twice. So I think that's a little bit of like, we learned that we can't fully control that behavior, and that will become even that much more reduced when we open it up. So just a little backstory to kind of why we are proposing that.
I appreciate that as well. I mean, that's exciting to see, and I think it'll be great to, get folks down there now while we're, I think, what did you have your schedule say? Like the public amenities are 27.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's great to get people activated between now and then. Has there been any other further communications with the Chevron property for acquisitions there? Have we found the person we can even think about possibly one day talking to?
We found Chevron. Yeah. Actually, no, yeah, he found us. So the individual that leases the Chevron property, which I was actually kind of blown away, like it's quite a bit of acreage. The portion that that we were interested in is not being used for fishing and hunting. And so we're in conversations about what it would take to potentially, even if it was a lease from us, like how we could get access. Obviously, they're not excited about people visiting, their exclusive hunting and fishing leased grounds, but to the extent that we can ensure that no public gets in there, I think that there's at least a conversation started, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, that's great. Even to find the person that's successful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dan gets the credit for that.
How much,
But it actually was a voicemail that was forwarded from Shannon, which I received and then forwarded it to Steve. I don't think I can actually take any credit for that whatsoever, but happy to do so.
how much effort is it going to take to open that up for a boat launch or water access? Is that a lot of work on our part? And is that something we would have to contract out? Or would that be something we could do in-house?
Just like a rough put in.
Hard to say at this point, in all fairness. We
Okay.
batted around the idea. There are a couple of places actually getting to the water. There's the only place that you could do that without a significant bank manipulation is where the wastewater ditch outflow is. That is right behind the nature preserve signage that's there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a walk down there. So you could, today you could walk down there with a sup if you could get close enough with a car to want to carry a paddleboard down there. That's not a difficult access to imagine. Anything a little more serious, like backing a trailer or anything like that, you'd have to get pretty cowboy.
Okay.
I like the idea of opening it up, and I understand that there have been people that have been very motivated to get in. There was maybe an incident involving some sheep on the interstate. Are we at a point where we're prepared if we do open that area up, that we have signage or we have officers for extra patrol so that it doesn't turn into a campground on accident?
We're not currently prepared. We're floating ideas for what we would do and what it would take. I think there's a range of opportunities as we see it. Like if we opened it for composting, it could kind of be the way it's operated now, which is it's usually closed at 5 p.m. and it's usually reopened at 8 or 9 the next morning. And so that could be part of facility staff or whatever their regular thing is. So that would be one way of managing a very limited public access. And then every step beyond that would require some operational plan and agreement, and it would require some resources. And so figuring that out, we're talking about ideas at this point. I think the idea that it would be open to the public before next spring is unlikely.
Okay.
I think that's what we would aim for, is like coming up with a plan and trying to execute that for like early next year.
That answered my next question. So that'd be after closing.
Yes, that would be after closing. And there would have to be some reciprocal insurance agreements.
Yep.
That's like, those are solvable. Those are relatively easy, but also part of the operational issues for sure.
And I think that the important thing to keep in mind is that, our agreement contemplates the 100% biddable documents, who pays for what for the project. And so I think that as we think about these ideas, explore opportunities with Phil, and starting to sort of move the site to a more usable and functional kind of state, those I think are pre-development costs that are not contemplated in our agreement. And so, to the extent that we get like a meter set for a pump, if we wanted to just run some water, or we wanted to put some porta potties down there, or, I'm just thinking out loud, but like those types of endeavors, or even soft costs, like if we wanted to use some of our own staff, both in the in-kind relationship and then the material moving, or purchasing seed, or whatever the scenario might be. I think those were kind of I wouldn't call it an ask, but those are the things that I think are worth exploring. And so that's, I think, kind of our next step. And we just wanted to make sure that the council was aware of the relationship to like those endeavors versus the ones that are contemplated in our development agreement.
And I think the spirit of that is if it was clear benefit to the private side, say it's fill management or something, that is probably falls to us and is attributable to the private side development. And if it's more of a park-like use, then it is more attributable to the city. And we would just have to agree about what is feasible and reasonable, and that would all be part of an operations.
It's just great that we're exploring stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still just super, it's such an exciting project all the way around. It's nice to have you come see us. We like seeing your face and hearing the good things that are coming. It just keeps it fresh on our mind. Sorry, was that and not?
No, you said it's always good to see his face. And I was maybe not. We can't be too nice.
But it feels it's good to see the next steps, and I love the 60-day check-ins, and it makes sense, I think, for us as we also get questions asked to us too. So it's very helpful to have that frequent check-in.
Of course. And then I would be remiss to excuse myself until I gave you Josephine's update. We got drywall the other day. The city staff's been amazing to work with. We're going to have new power poles set in the alley on Friday. So there'll be 3-phase power. There was a very effective phone call for staff members that facilitated that because Excel can drag its feet, bless their heart. But we are targeting end of this month turnover, and then they'll move in and start cooking, health department, building inspections allowing mid-July or so.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
And an update on the liquor license. The public hearing is scheduled for July 1st. It's already been approved by the state. So it just needs the local approval and they've got their liquor license.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as
Thank you.
always.
So-
Appreciate the updates. All right, that's the only item on our administrative agenda. So we're going to move into our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Very quick city manager report. I just wanted to share that 6 o'clock tonight, in contradiction to the email that I sent out yesterday, we shared the 2025 State of the City video on our social media channels and our YouTube. So we actually watched it at the breakfast today as well. I thought it was really well received, and all the feedback that we have got already has been overwhelmingly positive. So hats off to Ciara and her team for all of their hard work that they did on that. I think it went really well. If anyone's, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it, but we could share it during the meeting if anyone's interested, or you can just watch it on our Facebook, whatever
everybody
anyone
got it?
prefers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, great job. Continuing on Ciara's resume, our new website launched last week, which also looks incredible. We do know that there is stuff missing, so we've been working diligently on that every day. A lot of, not a lot, but archived city council documents, links to videos, etc. And things also look a little bit different as well. So thank you all for your input on the city council email. We're actually reaching out to Municode and seeing, or Civic Plus, to see if we can actually have them design that to where it looks similar to our prior one. So you don't have to click on the additional link to get to the packet and agenda. But we're working on that, and we continue to work on that. Our new CMU political science intern, Kenya, started last week. This is her third day, and all she has done is website updates. So her and Katie all day is just kind of making sure that we get everything carried over from the old website to the new website. So if you see anything, definitely holler, and we'll get that put on there as well. But yeah, again, great job, Ciara and team. Thought that turned out really well. And then my last update, so CML is next week. So we moved our workshop to Monday. So I'll see you all on Monday, and then see you all in Breckenridge. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That's a great segue into a CML discussion. We need to figure out how we're all getting there. I know there's been some talk of some people willing to carpool with the city, some people willing to drive, but I don't think anything's been set in stone.
Yeah, I have Matthew, or Mayor, and Councilor Quigley taking the Traverse. Amy's driving the Explorer, and I believe everyone else is driving. So James and Janine. Yeah.
Switzerland is calling.
Man.
Breckenridge is kind of the center of Colorado. Oh, I was that close.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're taking one car. You're taking
I'm on my own, yeah. Mhm.
Explorer. Okay,
You may have some staff with you as well.
great.
Yeah. So.
Happy to have somebody go up with me. I just
yeah.
have to come home early. So if anybody needs a ride,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
happy to have company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe half of you probably should have got per diems for that. The other two will be printed tomorrow, so you can come and pick those up at the end of the week or early next week as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then, and this is totally on me because I haven't responded to the email. Like, I have no idea where I'm staying.
Oh yeah.
Minor detail.
We will send that out. Councilor Williams, Councilor Purser at Beaver Run, and everyone else is at Hotel Alpenrock.
Okay.
Actually, we may have one more. I'll have to check. I'll get back to you on
So,
that.
I kind of who's staying where, so we know
Yep.
who to bug and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Use your credit card this time.
Yeah.
I used my credit card last time.
I know.
Oh,
I did
okay.
too. Remember we split it, the two
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We won't have to deal with that.
I hope. I mean, even last time when we did do everything ahead of time, they still required, but we'll get there early enough to hopefully. Oh, good. Good.
We had it
Yeah.
figured out by the time you guys got there.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have to put our card in for instance.
Incidentals. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just not-
We'll definitely work all that out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have
A
questions?
lot of points, at least.
Anybody else have any questions on CML? All right, so we'll just have to coordinate times in terms of when we're leaving and
Yeah.
where we're parking cars or not parking cars. Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at the schedule. It doesn't look like the sessions actually begin till Wednesday morning, but there is that Tuesday night gathering. There is the CIRSA general meeting, which we've generally had staff attend in the past. We were probably planning on that in case, unless anyone else is interested. But CIRSA is our insurance carrier. They usually kind of go over their financials and kind of trends they're seeing. But we'll probably have staff attend that if preferred.
That's a second great segue, which is speaking of CIRSA and insurance, with all the hail that happened here in Fruita.
Yep.
What was the impact to the city vehicles?
It's still being calculated. We will either submit one claim or individual claims. I would imagine it'll be one big claim. But yeah, there was quite a bit, especially with our public works and parks vehicles over at the city shop. So we can get back to you once we have some more information, but that's going to take a little bit of time.
But there will be a claim
Yep.
for that.
Yep.
Okay. Two other things on my list. We kind of all joke about the AV needs. It was brought up tonight. And I'm going to look at you, James, because this is your area of expertise. Is it worth looking at kind of, do we have the right stuff? If people are having a hard time hearing, I know like you got to speak pretty closely.
Right.
Is it worth having the discussion? Do we have the right equipment so people can hear us? I do know there's been times when it's a full room, even people in the back of the room have problems. Is it, I just want to get a feel from council.
Probably just
To
need.
be honest, I've never looked at what we have, and I can come over and take a look to kind of see what we have and if it's being utilized correctly, or if we can utilize it better, or if we need something new.
If
You
you,
may just need to turn up the game.
Yeah, there's probably just some adjustments that need to be made. I haven't never looked at it all, but I could come over and take a look and.
is that all right with you, Shannon?
Yeah, and we made some improvements, and we actually got the mic stand now, but now the mic is too short for Dan, Gavin, and I. But yeah, we did have a contractor come and evaluate it. And this is actually the setup that they recommended, the gooseneck microphones. We used to have wireless microphones about 4 years ago, so the audio was much worse and whatnot. But yeah, we can always have it evaluated again if interested.
Setting.
That's what
Yeah.
I think. I think
Yeah.
that what we have is fine. It just probably isn't being utilized to the degree it needs to.
Are you comfortable with James coming in and taking a look to see if it's gain or if we need a new flux capacitor or
Flex capacity.
or it might be?
Banana peels.
Yeah.
We can just come over some point during the week, like at lunch, and we can just check it out together or whatever.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Especially as at other events that the sound has not been.
Been a little brutal. And then perhaps it was kind of comical before the meeting, listening to all us talk about, oh, this change, oh, here's like, yeah, I don't have the sidebar or I have this. It may be worthwhile at one of a near future workshop to kind of look at how we all are receiving our information.
Oh, sure.
Because clearly there is,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And some of us have easier workflows than others. And it might be nice to kind of share best practices among council.
I'm
Oh.
keeping my way and Amy's keeping her way and they're not the same way. It works. Yeah.
But at least if we can say, here's what works for me. And
Just need to know how to find my way.
Exactly.
once again, for the record, I emailed Shannon saying, I don't see any attachments. He responded back, click here. The button that says click here, try that.
Yeah.
So
I
It
did
did say read on, not click here.
just said was
read more.
calendar, like council calendar.
Yeah.
view. It
It didn't say
like-
meeting at all.
I mean, it's
It's okay. We
Yeah.
can
It's
see what we look
change.
for.
Clearly we adapt very easily to change like most people.
Right.
Except some of us have a heart attack.
That was sarcasm. So I think we just, beginning of one of the workshops, just kind of talk through that would be, I think, helpful to everybody on council. And that's all I have. Thank you for everybody that was at the breakfast this morning, putting on my chamber hat. Appreciate everybody being there. And I will not share the Photoshop photo, not publicly. All right. With that, let's just go down the line.
I have nothing tonight.
I attended the community hospital's annual update. Always interesting to see like what they're seeing. It was a really, really small group this year, which I think has kind of been the trend with some of these engagements, but still really good information from them, and was happy to represent Fruita. And then, yeah, the breakfast this morning was great. Our presentation was definitely the most engaging, and you
Positive.
guys just always do a really good job. Yeah. We said maybe we should be the intermission next time so that the dry stuff doesn't go quite so long. But yeah, good job. Well done to the chamber. It was a really nice event and you guys did a great job presenting.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
All right. James?
Nothing.
I did attend an arts and culture board meeting since our last meeting, but I think we had already talked about kind of all the things that we had covered there. The artist, Mark, help me, what's the word? We're looking for the artists that, for the new art in the heart of Fruita.
Yeah.
Yes, but but the art, like where it's like submit your
Oh, the call to art.
Oh, thank you. Is out and the deadline is at the beginning of August, and then we'll go through that whole process, and then the install will be in early September. And we're picking a new name for what was pastels in the park because it's not in the park. So Mark sent out a poll for us all to take and has results probably that he'll share to the group and then I'll share with you after that. And
Your impressions of the arts and the boards and commission gathering?
yeah, yep, it's on here. Yes. So yep, Amy and Matthew and myself were at the boards and commissions event and it went well. And there was we broke up into two tables and had kind of like guiding questions, and it was a great way to have the boards interact with each other. Not all of the boards were represented, but those just because they weren't there. But the boards that were there had a good interactions with one another and even takeaways, like even for the planning to interact with the other boards, which I think is definitely something that probably has not happened before. So that was exciting and it just went really well. It was good conversation.
And the concept of localism.
Yeah, you brought up, and then it wasn't really ever discussed, at least not at our table. But I did appreciate that you were at my table. We did not talk about it. No, we didn't.
We talked about it at my table.
Okay, yes, yeah. I mean, we talked about it in a very, very, not really, not in a, I think.
Not directly, but the concept.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, it was all good conversations. And I think everybody was really happy to be there and held it to an hour of time for people. And so I think they appreciated that too. And then some people chatted for longer after, and that's nice also. And yeah, that was really great. I do have a website comment that I have not emailed. Do you want it right this second or email it?
Never worked.
Okay, the mayor's picture is smaller than the rest of ours on the website.
That was per the request of the mayor, I believe.
Real?
No.
That's all that I noticed.
To submit a picture?
That's all. That's
That's very funny. All right. Anybody have anything else? Nope. All right. Got a question to council. Surprisingly, it's 8:00. We now have 4 executive sessions coming up. Do you guys want to take a 5-minute break before we do that? But then before we break, Mary Elizabeth, as we go through this, I know we're going to come back to a council meeting after the executive sessions to adjourn. Do you want us to do all 4 executive announcements at once, or can we do them one at a time? So we step in and out. Do you have a preference?
I prefer the stepping in and out because there are different people attending different ones. So it's better to do it that way.
I'm sorry, yeah, 5. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mary Elizabeth. That's what we'll
You're
do.
welcome.
So based on that, we're going to, its time is 7:58. We're going to take a 5-minute recess and then we'll be coming back into open meeting to then go into executive session. So 5-minute recess. Thank you. Are back in open session. The time is 8:05. We have 5 executive sessions. So, and we need to make sure for the record that we announce everybody that's going to be in the sessions. And I know we have 4. Oh, I'm looking at a revised, sorry. And Shannon, I apologize. You said there was 2 additions to the first one? Okay. All right, Mary Elizabeth, are you online?
I am online. So, let's see. I was just thinking because Dalton is here as well, but he's not in every one of these. So we might want to rearrange these just a little bit. So hit the ones where he's involved can go first. And that way
Makes
he
sense.
can sign off. So that would be the executive session with regard to Greenway Business Park Metro District includes Dalton. And the one on the original, also the one on the original agenda labeled C, which is with regard to the Bernheide purchase and sale agreement that
Okay.
also involves Dalton.
Hey,
So
hey,
I
real
would,
quick, Mary Elizabeth,
yeah.
and Mr. Mayor, member.
So I guess let's just do them in order. The one that you added tonight can go at the end.
Right, and that's the lawsuit.
Correct.
Okay.
Which still equals 5, just. But the resolution doesn't count.
The resolution is not an executive session. That's an action actually for once you go back into open meeting. I know it was a little confusing because they're all under the same heading.
Yes. And I did move things around a little bit on us. All right, so with that, we are going to start off with executive session A, that's on the agenda. If we can get a motion, and then I'll read the announcement and make sure to add Mark and Ciara to that list.
Mayor, I move to convene an executive session to receive legal advice from the city attorney and special counsel pursuant to CRS section 24640224B and to develop strategy for negotiations and inform negotiators pursuant to section CRS 24624024E with regard to the city's possible acquisition of property in downtown Fruita.
Okay, we have a first.
And just to clarify, Dan, I don't believe Dalton is attending this one. Is that correct?
I don't have him on my list.
Well, it says special counsel, so I just wanted to maybe adjust the motion to just say city attorney.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I move to amend the recommendation to just have city attorney, no special counsel.
Thank you, Councilor Hansi.
Second.
all right, Amy has a second. All right.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yep.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
and Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. So the time is 8:10. Trying to get good at taking these notes. It is June 17th, 2025, and the time is 8:10. For the record, I'm the Mayor, Matthew Bremen, as required by the open meeting laws. This executive session is being electronically.
I know we just went into executive session, but we need to invite people before we go into executive session.
That would be my preferred. Well, Mary Elizabeth will probably say that.
Okay. All right, so the time is now 8:29. We're back in open session. So with that, I would need, let's make sure I get this correct. Need a motion to move into executive session, and we would invite the city manager, Shannon Vossen, Assistant City Manager Dan Karras, City Attorney Mary Elizabeth Geiger, and Special Counsel Dalton Kelly, as well as counsel to this meeting. So with that, I would need a motion to move into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I move to convene an executive session to receive legal advice from the city attorney and special counsel pursuant to CRS section 24-6-4024B and to develop strategy for negotiations and inform negotiators pursuant to section CRS 24-6-4024E with regard to the Greenway Business Park Metro District proposal and service plan.
Okay, first. There we have first and a second. Any discussions? All right, with that, we need to vote. So I guess, can I do it? You do it?
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Parrish, Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Hansi, Counselor Williams. Motion passes 6-0, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so with that,
Oh.
we're going to move into executive session and we're going to swap recordings.
we're back.
Fine. All right, we are waiting for 2 members to come back. Oh, geez. Good to know.
Remember.
That is really good to know. Thank you. All right. With that, the time is 9:22. We are back in open session. I would like to entertain a discussion in terms of what we are the council's ideas or where council sits in terms of entertaining ideas for special metropolitan districts, and kind of get feedback. So as a council, we can kind of talk about where we are, what we want to do moving forward. So with that, I'm happy to start the discussion, or if somebody else would like to.
I can say some words. It's a very interesting opportunity to entertain or to look at policies with metro districts. I think very much our history shows that it is part of our practice and our culture that we do things in the right order as we see fit, and that we want to establish policies before we start entertaining anything that would fit with that policy. So, when it comes to the metro districts, I think we should continue to follow what we've done historically, and that we should, I'm happy to look at policies for metro districts, but that we will not see any plans or accept any plans until we have a policy that's in place and ready to review any plans.
I kind of want to piggyback a little bit on that concept. I think this is something that we may have to deal with as we look as a city with property that may become available to the city, the launch and other projects. I would feel far more comfortable if we had a policy. I don't know if policy is the right term, but at least a guide to how, even with projects that, the city's looking at, that we kind of look at it to make sure, when we look at a potential project for the city, does this fit our guidelines? And if it doesn't, should we even be doing it?
Yep.
So, I mean.
Yeah, there's many reasons to have the policy completed for any projects.
But I do think it's something
others or ours
sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So, and I think it's something that when we are looking to review this policy, it's our understanding that it'll take 6 to 12 months to review a policy and get it enacted, that we can find it on time in our schedule when it makes sense to.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to put a time frame, and I don't want to set expectations. It will be done at this frame.
Oh yeah, no, we do it right here.
So
That's exactly where it's at. I think I would be more comfortable if we have some structure and some clear understanding. These get kind of complicated and messy, and get a little bit deep really quick. And I don't want us to do that. And I think that that's how we've approached things in the past. Like, I don't think anyone who knows Fruita would be surprised that that's the approach that we take. And if it ruffles some feathers, external feathers, then that's okay. I'm comfortable with that. I'd rather make sure that we have things ready before we dive in.
I agree. And I think it helps make sure that everything that we look at is treated the same and fairly and equitably. So I think that that's very important.
Question, because I'm a little confused. Are we talking about just specifically metro districts, or are you talking about
Special districts in general?
or projects involving our participation in housing? I guess I'm not quite clear as to what.
Well, I do think
we
there's
look,
details.
huh?
Not.
I guess I'm just not clear on what policy or overall thing you're talking about. Is it just for metro districts, or are we expanding that to deal with any kind of growth projects?
It seems to me that we don't have mechanisms in place for special districts yet. These other things that you're bringing up, we have mechanisms in place to look at those. But but we're recognizing now that this is a piece that we haven't yet gotten into place and that we would like to have in place or at least I would like to have in place to look at things in a very clear
Relates to.
manner.
Similarly to how we do approach housing. Like, I mean, similar, like, okay, here's some criteria, here's kind of what we're looking for. Here's the goals of the city. How does that fit?
So I'd like to propose, are you guys comfortable at our next workshop, which is on Monday, to put it on the item, not to work through clearly all of this, because this is a huge thing, but at least have a relatively short discussion on terms of what would be the next steps. So that way we can start to help have staff start to pull stuff together and start to figure out what the plan is to get the plan, for lack of a better term.
What else do we have on that agenda?
We have the update on the I-70 billboard, a few municipal code ordinances, and we were going to do a quick update on our capital projects. So it's full.
So that, or we move it to the July
I'm
1st?
more comfortable with it being July. I don't know why we're rushing to get it on Monday.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't.
More,
Also,
more
they're
time for
already
staff to
prepared as well.
prepare.
Yeah, they're already not prepared. Yeah.
Great point, thank you.
Yeah.
Workshop?
Well, the first one in July.
Okay.
That's what they meant.
Yeah.
And if you have room, then but yeah, I think just laying them on them, doing it Mondays, that's not.
Okay. We good with that? All right.
Mary Elizabeth is shaking her head, yes.
All
I think
right.
that makes more sense to wait till the 1st. Are you thinking then doing a workshop prior to the regular meeting?
That's on the,
Not necessarily. It just, if there's room for it in the next workshop that happens, then that makes sense. And if we need to do it before one, that's fine too. But
Oh, okay. So waiting till the workshop at the end of July.
the 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got the July 1st and July 15th are public meetings. And then our workshops on the 22nd. We
that's
do on the 15th have that early one that we could utilize, but if the 22nd's open, move it to that date.
Or we don't need to workshop it necessarily.
I think we need to kind of discuss this and figure out what exactly is it what we're trying to do and kind of figure out the process for it, but not necessarily come up with the policy.
No, of course not the policy, but just the idea that whatever needs to be put in place, that we're going to set the policy up first before we entertain.
Kind of a kickoff meeting.
Yeah.
as far as for the workshop go, I think let the staff figure out when they're ready to do it.
Which
We
would
wouldn't,
be.
I see what you're saying.
So we can't do that in a workshop.
Right. I see what you're saying. So I would rather move it to, so the thing is, because we want to come up with a plan, I think there needs to be a discussion. Do we want to put a pause on accepting any and all applications and publicly put a pause on any and all application until we do that? If we're going to do that, that needs to be done
In a public meeting.
and I think by resolution.
Right. The vote. So that would not be a workshop is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
that's our,
So that needs to happen prior to us having a workshop.
A policy, yes.
Yeah.
right.
And that would be really nice to give them like that clear message and,
Yes.
well, yeah,
Okay.
but like, just to not waste anybody's time.
July 1, we can talk about.
Well,
if-
or can we say at this point in time, we could direct staff, say, can you pen policy around, we want to put a pause on accepting anything? Get that in place. That can come to us.
Resolution.
Right, and then that can come to us as a first reading in the first meeting.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
On July 1.
on July 1.
That's
Oops,
feasible.
You don't need 2 readings if you're just doing a resolution.
Resolution, yeah.
Oh, even better.
One.
Cool.
Okay,
That would be
right.
great.
There we go.
So I
So
guess if-
is that enough time for you to put together a resolution? Kind of with the desire that we, at this point in time, until we have a policy, we're going to put a pause on accepting anything.
And then we can work on it in the workshop in the end of the
Right.
month.
I think CML makes it difficult, but we'll work with Dalton and Mary Elizabeth and give you an update. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna see me at CML, so.
Oh.
No, I personally like
Uh.
the 1st or 15th doesn't matter to
No.
me. It's like,
No.
there's no reason to kick yourselves in the
No.
butts to
No.
something like that. We just want to make it official.
Right.
The fact that we're having this discussion now, I mean,
Yeah.
it's public record and people can be like, oh, this is where council's leading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not be official, but I think we're kind of setting the expectations of where we're going to go.
Yeah.
All right, so if not the first because of CML, the second meeting in July, there'll be a resolution that we can discuss and potentially adopt. And then at the workshop at the end of July, have a discussion on next steps on how do we tackle this kind of issue.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that was easy.
Sweet.
All right. So now we're going to go into our third executive session. So give me one moment to make sure I find my spot on the agenda, which is item C. And then for the record, I'm going to need a motion to move into executive session where we will also have with us we're inviting their city manager Shannon, Assistant City Manager Dan, City Attorney Mary Elizabeth Geiger, should use full names, Special Counsel Dalton Kelly, and then CR, I think we're not inviting you to this? Okay. CR is not invited to this.
Invited.
Okay, so with that, I would need a motion.
I move to convene an executive session to receive legal advice from the city attorney and special counsel pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402, 4B with regard to the possible assignment of the city's purchase and sale agreement with the Bernheide and the due diligence documents completed regarding the same.
Second.
I'm sorry, that was you? Right? All right, with that, I guess I'm not allowed to call a vote. Ciara?
Yeah, Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Hancy,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yeah.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
and Counselor Miller.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0. So with that, I guess we need to now switch recordings yet again. All right, if this order gets right, I hereby attest this recording reflects the action at the executive session and has been made in lieu of any written minutes to satisfy the recording requirements of the open meeting law. The time is 10:05 and I'll have the deputy retain these recording for 90-day period. That we are back into open session.
I don't think that got recorded on the.
It did or did not? Okay. So are we back in open session? Right, I just want, but we're recording, right? Okay. So, all right, welcome back to open session. We are on item still in section 10 of the agenda. We have a resolution 2025-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fruita authorizing the assignment of a purchase and sale contract for Lot 2, Indie Build Minor Subdivision, and Lot 4, Bernheit Estates, filing 1, City of Fruita, County of Mesa, State of Colorado. So that's where we are. So first, is there any questions, comments?
Do we need to do the roll call? After that?
No, because nothing.
We're back in open.
All right.
Yeah, we're back in open. We'll need another roll call when we go into our last.
10:05.
executive.
It's 10:05.
Okay. So, all right, team, we're gonna kind of work through this. Is there any discussion on this? Item D, the resolution 2025-21.
I think it makes perfect sense to assign this to the Fruita Housing Authority, who is set up to handle this type of agreement.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right. Sorry, I'm losing my spot. Give me 1 second. All right, so we need the resolution. So is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2025-21-A, resolution 2025-21-A. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Fruita authorizing the assignment of a purchase and sale contract for Lot 2, Indie Build Minor Subdivision, and Lot 4, Bernheit Estates, filing 1, City of Fruita, County of Mesa, State of Colorado.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
Janine's our second. All right, any further discussion before we vote?
No.
All right, Dan, would you do the,
honors? Yeah. Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Hansi,
Yes.
Councilmember Purser,
Yes.
Councilmember Parrish,
Please. Yes.
Councilmember Quigley,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Absolutely.
all
Motion
right,
passes 6-0. I'm getting good at that.
all right. So I do not have the verbiage in front of me or
None of us do.
a fourth.
Or can we copy from any of the other executive sessions? Or are they
No, because
referencing
it's
the
got to be
same
pretty
ones?
specific. So where can we
Yeah.
find the,
I'm helping you out. So what I will do is I will say what the
Yeah,
the
we
motion
got
should
you. Go
be,
ahead.
and then somebody can say so moved.
Yeah, we got you. Yep.
Okay. So this would be a motion to convene an executive session to receive legal advice from the city attorney pursuant to CRS section 24-6-4024B and to develop strategy for negotiations and inform negotiators pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024E with regard to Mesa County District Court Case Number 25 CV 30060 and specifically with regard to the court-ordered mediation.
Nice work.
Excellent.
Okay.
Need a second to the so moved.
all right, so
Richard
And-
firsted and.
And then
Courtney
invited there,
seconded.
invited therein will be City Manager Shannon Vasson, City Attorney Mary Elizabeth Geiger, and members of council. Dan can come in if he wants to, or he can go home. And Dalton, you can go home.
my
Thank you
name's
for your
Dan.
time.
Not going anywhere.
Dan's staying.
Dan, are
Okay,
you
so
staying
Dan
for this?
Karas.
As the assistant city manager, I think Dan should stay.
Okay,
All
fair
right.
enough. Dalton, thank
So-
you for your time.
All right,
Thanks, Dalton.
Bye all.
Dalton.
all right. So we've got that. It has been approved. Now, once again, I don't, are we recording? We're just doing one continuous recording?
I don't think that you voted yet.
Oh, Okay.
Move into executive session.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Thanks. Dan, would you please poll council?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Quigley, Councilmember Parrish,
Yes.
Councilmember Purser,
Yes.
Councilmember Hansi, Councilmember Williams. Motion passes 6-0.
Not with excitement.